Hey everyone, it's Tim from Green Theory. Today we got an interesting topic to talk about, and we're going to discuss why you don't want aluminum in your deodorant. So, maybe you've been using commercial deodorant or an antiperspirant for your entire life, and you've reached the end of your current stick of deodorant, and maybe you've been thinking about it's the new year. Maybe it's time for some changes in my life, and maybe I could do some things a little bit more healthy. And you've been thinking about maybe making the switch to natural deodorant. So what we're going to go over today, again, is why you don't want aluminum in your deodorant, and maybe this will help you to make a better informed decision on the products that you choose to use on a daily basis. So I think the most interesting little tidbit about aluminum that I like is aluminum is the most prevalent mineral in the Earth's crust. And yet, despite the fact that it is the most prevalent mineral, it is not used by a single living organism for any biological purpose whatsoever. Now, maybe you think that it's just a coincidence, like how could that happen, But there's a reason. And the reason is it's a neurotoxin. And so consider the fact that there's plenty of minerals in the Earth's crust. Our body has a use for things like gold, copper, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, and yet nothing on this planet utilizes aluminum. And so we're going to get into the reasons why. Okay, so let's go over the top 4 reasons why you don't want aluminum in your deodorant. Number 1 is that you are much more likely to increase your risk of Alzheimer's. Now, I want to be clear that there is no scientific proof that points to a causal link between Alzheimer's and aluminum. However, there was a study done in 2015 that found that Alzheimer patients did in fact have higher levels of aluminum in their brain, their blood serum, and their cerebral spinal fluid. So that is something that I think is worthy of taking into account. So this certainly does raise the question of whether or not that aluminum that you applied in your antiperspirant and then is absorbed through the skin does have an impact on why those with Alzheimer's had higher concentrations of aluminum in their brain and their blood serum. And I think this is particularly relevant, even more so, in the case of pregnant women or expecting mothers, or those that are currently breastfeeding right now, because anything that is taken in through the skin, consumed by the mother, is ultimately going to be passed on through breast milk into the developing child. And that certainly is at a time period where neurological development is critical, and the presence of a neurotoxin in the case of aluminum could be potentially very damaging. Second reason, how many of you can't wear your white t-shirts because they've been destroyed and have yellow stains all over them? Interestingly enough, those yellow stains are caused by aluminum. So the aluminum, when you sweat, it reacts with the urea in the sweat, and that's what causes those yellow stains. So if you're trying to avoid yellow stains in your clothes that you're never going to be able to get out, you might want to drop your antiperspirant, because the aluminum is what's causing them. Next on the list is that aluminum may increase your risk for breast cancer. We talked about this obviously as relating to Alzheimer's, but aluminum, what it does is it changes. This is relevant actually for both males and females. Females are 100 times more likely to get breast cancer than males are. Men can get it, but what aluminum does is it changes. It makes changes to the estrogen receptors in the body, and those changes have been potentially linked to breast cancer and the development of breast cancer. Now, in men, those changes in estrogen, aluminum actually mimics estrogen in the body, and so it can fit into an estrogen receptor. So if you're not familiar with estrogen, it's the female sex hormone, and it's important in both males and females, but you have to have a very critical balance of it. Too much or too little is not a good thing, particularly in males. It can cause things like fatigue, erectile dysfunction, brain fog, a host of issues that you definitely do not want. And so now, because of this, with the increased risks of breast cancer, you're also potentially set up for increased risks of other additional cancers. Now, this is speculation. However, sweating is a natural process, and that is one of the processes that we use to detoxify ourselves. Our body can use our sweat to push out and flush out toxins in our body. Now, if we're applying an antiperspirant that's clogging those sweat pores, then those toxins are not able to get out as easily. And then you have this buildup of toxins, which is not good for all the rest of the cells in the body that are ultimately end up being exposed to those toxins. And so then the last consideration, not so much of a health concern, but let's look at it from an environmental perspective. Using aluminum in your antiperspirants is in some ways going to increase your carbon footprint. That aluminum has to come from somewhere. It comes from the ground. The ground has to be mined. So you're stripping off all of those trees and digging huge pits in the ground, and that is going to ultimately impact your carbon footprint and make it larger. Okay, so you've decided, I'm not going to do the aluminum in my deodorants anymore. What are my options? Well, here at Green Theory Naturals, we make 100% aluminum-free, all-natural, probiotic deodorant that not only is it going to effectively fight body odor, make you smell great, but it's also got bentonite clay in it that reverses its electrical charge when it comes in contact with moisture, sweat, right? And when it does that, it pulls toxins out of your body. So not only do you have the aluminum gone that was clogging all that up, that's keeping the toxins in your body, we're actually pulling them out. You get a daily detox every day just by wearing deodorant. So how can you find Green Theory? You can come to our webpage at www.gogreentheory.com. You can find us on Amazon, Etsy, Walmart Marketplace, or if you're in the Eugene, Springfield area, you can find us in the Market of Choice stores and many of the local health grocery stores. And so anyone that wants to purchase from the webpage, let's do a 15% off discount code. And that code, I'll put it at the bottom here, will be GT Aluminum Free 15, and you'll get 15% off of your entire purchase. Doesn't matter whether you buy deodorant, hair clay, or lip balm.